Okay, we've got a pretty decent movie to talk about. Wasn't my favorite, but I didn't hate it. So, with that said and done, hi. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today, we're going to be reviewing the newest A24 horror movie, Talk to Me. Now, I was really excited for this one because I feel like A24 really has pretty original horror movies, or at least concepts that I never really have seen before in movies. So I was really excited to see this one. Plus, A24 just knows how to create visually pleasing, aesthetically pleasing movies as well. So I knew that this movie was gonna look beautiful because it was produced by A24. Before we get into any of that, if you are interested in checking out my Patreon, getting videos earlier than when I post them here on YouTube, then link for my Patreon will be in the description below. Check it out, see what's in store for you there. Even just checking it out helps me out tremendously, so if you're curious about that, check out the description. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a little bit context out of the way before we dive into my actual thoughts. So one, I didn't know that this movie was actually written and directed by YouTubers, people that pretty much got their footing from YouTube. I didn't know that until after I saw this movie, so I thought that that was pretty interesting, pretty cool. We love to see it. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get into the plot basically of this movie. When a group of friends discovers how to conjure spirits by using an embalmed hand, they become hooked on the new thrill until one of them unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. So yeah, that's basically the whole plot of this movie. It follows those friends, and more specifically Mia, who is our protagonist in this movie, and she's got a lot of depth to her. I'll just say that much. She's got a lot going on in her life. Before you watch it, if you haven't watched it yet or thinking about it, there is talk about suicide and death of a parent. So if any of that is not your fancy, like you don't want to see it, just know that going into this movie. If you still want to see the movie, just know there are talks about that, and it is kind of an important topic to the plot of this movie. But I really like this one, but I wouldn't say it's like a new favorite of mine. I don't even know if I would rewatch it. Maybe I would rewatch it because there are things that I know about it and I know how it's gonna end that I think I could apply to a rewatch, so it would give me a different experience. Something that I didn't really like about it was that it got a little confusing. I feel like the writing maybe needed to tighten some loose screws there, because sometimes it felt like there were so many things that were unanswered, because with a concept like this, it's not something that we have in our world right now. So you're kind of introducing a new idea, a new thing in this world, so you gotta explain it a little bit more, and there's not really any explanation about it at all. About the embalmed hand, there's no explanation for it. How did it get there? Why is it able to conjure spirits? Whatever, blah blah. So basically the whole premise is there's an embalmed hand, you grab the hand and you say, "Talk to me." You light a candle and the spirit, demon, whatever it may be, appears right in front of you. So you can talk to it as is, or you can say, "I let you in," and the demon basically possesses you. Once that happens, you have 90 seconds until the demon stays with you forever, supposedly, because no one's ever gone over the 90 seconds. So that's basically where things go awry, is someone goes over the 90 seconds, our protagonist goes over the 90 seconds, and chaos ensues, I'll just say. With that, it kind of leads us to more questions about the embalmed hand specifically, or like the rules of this embalmed hand. Why is it 90 seconds? What happens to you after the 90 seconds? Like all these different things that could be asked in terms of this movie and this plot and this hand, but they're never really answered. It's just, here's the premise, here's the hand, this is what happens, let's go. And if you like movies like that where they just like say, this is what's gonna happen, you know, like this is the thing, these are the consequences, have fun, this movie's for you. You'll love this movie. I'm personally someone who likes having the backstory, all the questions have answers, and there's a whole story to it. There's a whole reason, there's explanation. I kind of tend to gravitate towards movies that have those answers and those explanations, but it's not a necessity for me to like a movie or not, but it will help me enjoy the movie as I'm watching it if I have all the answers. So another thing about this movie that I kind of liked, and I also didn't really discover this until after I watched the movie, was that this is basically a whole allegory, a whole metaphor for drug use, because we see in the trailers that this group of friends, they basically get hooked on conjuring these spirits and like letting it possess them basically. And it makes sense once you watch the movie, if you have that in the back of your mind, why certain characters are making the decisions that they are. Why is it so difficult to just follow the rules of the embalmed hand and do X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? It makes it a little bit easier to understand, but I didn't have that when I first watched it. But I do appreciate the metaphor that this embalmed has for drug use, and the group of friends are younger. I'd say they're about like high school age, so it's like they're gonna make dumb decisions. They're gonna think that people tripping out when this demon is possessing you is funny. They're gonna film it, they're gonna put it on friggin' Instagram or whatever. So that all makes sense why people would act that way, because they are younger and because of what the hand basically stands for. So that I enjoyed, I liked that, but like I said, I didn't know that going in, so it didn't connect for me, you know, until after a while. Something that I also liked and I wish that they had more of. I feel like a lot of my critique is I liked everything they had in the movie. I just wish they had more of it. So I liked the plot of the movie and I like the basis of this hand. I wish we got more of it, more explanation, more answers around that. And this also falls in line with that, where there was a lot of spooky imagery. Like I said, A24 does a really good job of the visually pleasing or the visually spooky, right? Midsummer, Hereditary, those are great A24 horror movies because of the visuals are very unsettling, and we got that in this movie too. We got some disturbing images, some that, you know, are not leaving my mind. They're not haunting me when I go to bed at night, like some movies do. But they are visually unpleasing, which I enjoyed, but there wasn't enough. There was maybe like 2 times where we saw something very, very spooky, maybe about like 3 times out of this whole movie. And I felt like because we didn't actually see more spooky, you know, demons or gore, anything like that, then it kind of made the movie feel a little slow, because there were times where they were conjuring spirits and you don't even get to see the spirits. And for me, I thought that was the most interesting part. Like, I want to see who's coming to play. You know what I mean? Who you're holding hands with, basically. But we don't get to see that every time. I understand that it's intentional and, you know, you don't have to, but I personally would like to, because the visuals that we did get were so good. So I wanted to see more demons, more spirits, whatever you want to call them. So that was a little lackluster. I wish that there was more, but there unfortunately wasn't. And basically, like, my last qualm is because of everything that I said. I feel like the pacing was a little weird because I couldn't really understand when the movie was gonna end. I didn't really know. And again, maybe that was intentional. It just kind of made it feel a little slow. I was kind of waiting to see what was gonna be the climax. And then the movie kept going on and I was like, okay, I guess this one event is the climax. You know what I mean? It was kind of difficult to decipher where we were at because I felt like it was kind of difficult to determine when that was going to happen, when the ending was, how it was even going to be concluded. I will say though that I did enjoy the ending very much. I really liked how they tied it together at the end, and when I saw it, I just knew it was going to happen right before it happened. That was a satisfying ending in my opinion. I also forgot to mention there's also some animal cruelty, I will say, in this. With a kangaroo, they like hit a kangaroo in the beginning of the movie, and also somebody makes out with the dog. So kangaroo is obviously fake, and apparently the dog that they use for that is okay as well. Just so you're aware, if you're not into that, that's understandable. Out of 5 stars, I gave this 3, and I think out of 10, I would give this maybe like a 7. It's not super bad where I wouldn't rewatch it. I need some time in order to rewatch it just because I know that the pacing is going to be a little weird. I know that there are things that I'm not going to get answers to. Maybe rewatching it will give me some answers, but like I said, I'm just that type of person where I need to have my questions have answers. With that said and done, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons, and especially Gave Up, AJ, Mark Sylvester, Jeff Griffin, and James Cox. Thank you so much, and make sure to go ahead and check out my Patreon if you haven't already. Okay, what did you guys think about this movie? Have you seen it yet? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it was just Let me know. I'm really curious because this was a very interesting one. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, so I'm keeping the review as minimum as I can possibly make it without, spoiling anything for you guys. So let me know what you guys thought about this movie in the comments below, and let me know if there's any upcoming movies that you're excited for, that you want me to review or react to, anything like that. Just let me know. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that jazz, and as always, thanks for watching. Thank you.